Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us. Welcome to this next wonderful episode of the Ascension Hour with Rev HoniB and her galactic guests, amazing friends. I am so delighted to have my dear, sacred, amazing, super galactic sister, Waxela Sananda, on this wonderful hour with all of us as she gets to share her magnificence and her grace on the wisdom that has been poured upon her for what the ascension is in just a few minutes. So welcome, Waxela. I'm so happy you are here. Thank you for coming on. And I welcome everybody to also welcome you, as you really don't need introduction or anything like that. I just want to introduce you for a second in welcoming you, and we're going to go ahead and do the prayer. So say hello to everyone.
Hello, thank you, honey. It's so good to be here. And we've been talking about this for a while, so it's really fun to finally manifest it and get to sit down and have some really deep conversation about what's going on.
It was absolutely perfect the way this unfolded, whether it will be today, not today, it will be today, not today. So here it is, and it's always that perfect divine timing. And I'm excited what will be shared between us. So before we get started, like all the Wednesdays that we do this, just let us ground into this frequency that wants to be shared. So let's just close our eyes, put our feet nicely flat on the floor, and either placing our hands in our hearts or in the lap, and just let's go ahead and take a nice deep in-breath in and relax and breathe it out. With this next in-breath, let us take a deep breath from our heart into our heart. Make that deep connection into that inner sacred flame, that dazzling Holy Spirit flame. Let's go ahead and breathe into that place and hold it for about 3 seconds. And breathe it out. Let us take the next deep in-breath in once again and connect all the way to the crystalline diamond heart inside of our hearts one more time. And hold it in. And breathe it all the way out. And this next in-breath, breathe all the way in. Connect deep into that purity flame, that crystalline, diamond, golden flame from the source that you come from. And just breathe it in and connect deeply with its essence inside of you. And then release it out. Now I invite you to take the next deep in-breath in. As you connect with this sacred flame inside, I want you to breathe it all the way down to the heart of Sophia Gaia, to the heart of Mother Earth, Tierra, and just breathe into her heart and make that connection heart to heart. Take a deep in-breath in. And breathe it all the way down to from the lower chakras all the way down to the heart of Sophia Gaia. Make that connection so she knows you're connected to her. And the next in-breath, when you take a deep in-breath in from your heart, I want you to breathe it all the way out to source, straight up through all your higher chakras, all the way up through all the dimensional planes, all the way straight to source, to the heart of source, to that original flame of light. And make that deep connection into her. And breathe all the way out. And this final breath, breathe deep once again into your heart and acknowledge the connection above, connection below, and connection in front of you, behind you, and to your sides and all around in this diamond prism of light that you are in, that you're enclosed in, so that anything less than this divine perfection may not interact or interfere in any which way. So take that deep in breath in and hold it in your heart with that acknowledgement. And breathe it all the way out into this outer template of the prism light. And we ask this call to fully be blessed by the hierarchy of team of light, and anything less than the light may not at all in any which way be interacted. So only the wisdom of the purity truth may come on and bless everyone that is joining us live and everyone that will be watching later. And so be it, and so it is, as we begin. Good morning, good afternoon, my dear sacred system.
Thank you for that. I needed that. Felt good. Yes, definitely get connected after my technical issues getting on and all the fun things that can happen.
And isn't that the fun part of this ascension journey, Waxela?
Oh, yeah.
All this ebb and flow, right? All this ebb and flow. So it's beautiful because you just coming off from the Alchemy of Ascension season 6 with the 33 speakers plus everything else in between, of course, coming from Mount Shasta, then hurricane, then everything else that came with it. And it's incredible. Like, I love, because we both, now I arrived late last night, we're both here and recognizing this ascension journey, right, has so many different facets. We're anchoring this diamond embodiment, but how incredible is it? It's many different facets that are revealing themselves, right? And I want to really just in this raw and realness, I want you to share with me, like, what are you discovering now? Because every day it seems like you open your eyes, there's a whole new discovery again, and like again and again. So tell me, where are you in this moment of the revelation of ascension for you, especially after what you just came off of?
Yeah. Yes. So I did, just for anyone that that doesn't know, the path, most people won't know what I've just done, but I really took on a massive, massive project, 4-month project of the Alchemy of Ascension season 6, 4 days. It's a huge project. I need a whole team to help me with that. 4 days before it launched, my tech team quit because they failed to do a number of things that I hired them to do, and it became evident, and they left rather than trying to make that work. And then I followed by a trip to Mount Shasta, followed by finding out I needed to move because I rent and the house I'm living in is being sold. And then coming back from Shasta and finding out that there's a hurricane coming, losing power for a full week while simultaneously running a summit with 10 live shows in the first 2 weeks of October. So I've had my hands full. And the word that comes to mind is resilience. I literally had a moment after my tech team quit and before the summit launched. I traveled to Mount Shasta the day that the summit launched, which is crazy, but it was a pre-planned trip and it was important. And that was my soul work. I'm not going to not do that, right? So I had this moment where I felt like it was breaking. I felt like everything was breaking. I called our friend Shariah, who's wonderful with tech and very spiritual as well. And she's like, yeah, I had that on a summit too, and kind of walked me through it. But I mean, I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever do this again because it's too much. Like, I can't handle anymore. I'm at that point of like, I got to just, maybe something's got to shift or I got to walk away. And then going forward to come back and there's a hurricane and all these other things. What happened, honey, in the midst of all of that is that I rose above it energetically and I got myself on a bigger level. And, you know, like looking at it, I'm realizing I just got energetically larger because there's nothing that I can't handle. And I called in help where I needed it. I drove 40 minutes to a friend's house in Bradenton to do my live shows while my power was out, while I was simultaneously learning to run a generator so that I could power my refrigerator and not, you know, lose everything, so that I could charge my cell phone, things like that. But it was amazing what happened to me. And I'm sharing this because this is what we all have within us, is this either if it doesn't break us, we expand. And interestingly, my summit show was expanded. The tagline is expanded states of consciousness, exploring expanded states of consciousness. I feel like I entered into a larger embodiment. I did. In all of this, I was able to expand out of my normal way of being, which is like, there's a certain amount of things in a day that I can handle. Right. And the rest I either delegate or it doesn't get done. And I just couldn't be that way in this experience. I had to be bigger. I had to do more. I had to fit more in. I had to timeline shift and work with being able to do about a week's worth of work in a single day, every day. Still doing that to catch up. And I got it. Like, I got that I'm capable of so much more than I previously thought I was. And now looking back on it, I'm like, what a gift. What a blessing this has all been, because I get to realize and actualize a larger embodiment of myself that I wasn't aware was possible before, because I chose to be present with it, because I chose, you know, when I needed to cry, I cried. When I needed to call a friend and emote and yell and scream, I did that. Or when I needed to just be alone and ask the divine, what are you going to do next? Because I need some help here. The moment when I had nowhere to go, I had my lives coming up, I was really at that point, like, I don't know what to do. And I just like, divine, send me something. I need some help right now. Probably within 1 minute, 2 different friends reached out. Hey, how are you? Is your power back? You can come to my house, use my office. I have internet. I have power. Come on over. And I'm like, thank you. I needed that. It's that moment of like, I just need someone to respond to this. And it happened. And that's what I feel like when we're in this work, really doing this, living this work. I live that. I call it living beloved. The universe loves me. Everything that happens is for me, even when I can't see the blessing in it. And it works out, and it works out better than I could have imagined. So
isn't it like it's like the many rebirths within this expansion of birth simultaneously, because it's like there are all these different, again, facets that show up suddenly in your field, and it's not, you cannot not pay attention to them, because you have to give attention to them, because they're ready to burst into another starlight. It's like multiple star bursts inside, and it gives another level of resurrection. I feel like I know you went through that. I know I went through that. Michael went through it. Our union went through that, just within this, in a very different way. And this ascension, the wisdom of ascension, is this presence, and then this, like, the many births within rebirths and rebirths and rebirths, because suddenly you're now in this whole new octave of light, right? That you're seeing yourself. It's like, wow, I'm so much more grander than what I was before. because you went through your own internal hurricane and tsunami and typhoon, and earthquake, like, right, the whole thing. And so now you're in this new now, and it's like, wow. And it's that joyous celebration of the wow afterwards, isn't it?
It really is, and I think a key point in that too is the surrender.
Yeah.
I didn't give up my schedule. I didn't give up, everything that I had aligned with and set in place. And I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I had committed to that happening. And that commitment and partnered with my surrender to, okay, things aren't going to be easy. They're not going to be the way I thought they were going to be. And I surrender to the process. I'm not going to go into why is this happening to me? That whole story. You get to be present. And when I'm present, I'm fully present, embodied, facing it, honoring the feelings, honoring the emotions, honoring the upsets, all along the way, there are also beautiful gifts all along the way. And I think what just happened in my life, it's a microcosm of what happens in everyone's life. We go through these challenging, tormenting, seemingly difficulties. And it's if I had said, I have to do this all by myself, I couldn't do it all by myself. I had to ask for help. I had to surrender. I had to be resilient. There were so many pieces, like being polished, the stone that's being polished by the water that eventually becomes this just beautiful, round, smooth stone. That's what it feels like. It was a refinement. And we go through those. And the better we get at being at surrendering, being in flow and being resilient, the more rewards we get to keep and the more expansion happens.
Absolutely. And see, for the listeners, like the whole point of this show is your lens and the way you are experiencing directly ascension. So with this, like, despite everything that went on, and of course not, I was also on the phone with you and witness to all these things, like coming one at a time. And I feel what is so important is the recognition in that when these things come in your field, they are part of that ascension expansion. It's not there to hurt you. It's not there to, knock you out. It's there to give you opportunity what you will choose, because it is in that choice that you get to again ignite another part of you that I feel gets more integrated from your angelic self, from your galactic self, from your highest self, gets reintegrated back. So that's where there's that levitation experience, right? It's like expansion, and it's more bright, like beautiful, dazzling. Like I can see you, you're even brighter now. Like I can see your fingers. It's like, oh, you're glowing even greater. What is that? Because you rose again and again and again. And yes, it's so magnificent, but one wheel in it is not easy. And I feel that support group is very important to remember, like you're not alone, and it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You've also discovered that, right? Like life loves you. It's not here to hurt you in this ascension.
Yeah. I literally have a note on my desk. I'm not at my office right now, but a note on my desk that says the universe is always working in my favor. And, and I've termed this way of, it's not just something I say or an affirmation. It's a way of living and a way of being. And it's that, I am always loved. I am always loved. This is for all of us. If you want to live this way, I challenge everyone listening to take this on, because it's so powerful to take this on in your life and practice. And it is a practice, living beloved. And that means my beloved is everywhere. It is the universe, and it is finding ways to love me in every moment. And that might be through other people and other sets of eyes. It might be through experiences that come to me. It might be through someone cutting me off in traffic while I'm driving, and I have an opportunity to love that person and acknowledge that person's in a bigger hurry than I am, or get upset, who are you going to be with it? And then there's when you choose the surrender, okay, I can't do anything about what just happened. I'll surrender that. I'm not going to get into a negative mindset about it. And I hold this mindset of the beloved is working with me and attempting to take care of me and love me and nurture me and be generous with me in every moment and everything that happens and everything that crosses my path and every pair of eyes and every text and email, even the mean ones, even the people that troll my YouTube channel or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like there's something trying to be loved and love in that experience. Who am I going to be? How am I going to show up? And especially, you get haters online when you're in the public eye. It does happen. And I'll sometimes read something and sometimes I'll be a little triggered, like, wow, why did they feel the need to say that? Other times I go into my heart and say, wow, that person must be really lacking love in their life to need to reach out in that way and express what they're expressing. And that's okay. It's just an opportunity to see some people are really separated from love. And that is an opportunity for me to love more.
From the lens of ascension, thank you for what you shared, because that was my next question, because you and I both are focused on the embodiment. And we speak of this. There's a lot of words said. And then the actual action and bringing it, alchemizing it, be-earthing it here, it's a whole different walk. And do you also find, like, for example, like you said, there's sometimes you're triggered by it, what comes up or shows up. There's sometimes you have it really down and it's fantastic. Like you are in the flow writing it. And sometimes you just flat on your face. Nope, you didn't get it. Because it's like, okay, I always feel like I'm back on the drawing board and I see the whole team. All right, we're going to give you another opportunity, and another opportunity till you can bring actually love into it. And that word is used so loosely, and it is yet so tied deeply with that the essence of the beloved that must merge back within yourself, not outside. So I love that you also spoke about that, because all of those ties together, the beloved allows you to experience, once you've merged the beloved within yourself, it gives you the opportunity to experience what life brings you from the grace of beloved essence and embracing it in that way. And there are times you can embrace it because you're not with it, like you're not aligned with it, right?
Yeah. I think, such a key point to remember in embodiment is that we are not these bodies. We get to have these bodies. These bodies are sacred tools that are given to us by the earth and by the divine. We are the divine spirit inhabiting this sacred vessel. We get to inform it with our presence, with our divine spirit. That is the embodiment, and the level at which you are able to clear and let go of the density of the body. And by that, I mean the things, the negativities, the traumas, the upsets, the things that have densified into the body and made it heavy. The more we can acknowledge those, it's not about bypassing, it's about acknowledging, doing that shamanic work, going deep within, seeing it, being present with it, loving it anyway, loving ourselves and loving these bodies. No matter what's going on, they are responding to our spirit all the time. And it's our spirit that gets to inform the body with energy, with frequency, with light, and give it what it needs to be healthy, to be activated, to be pure, to be clean, to be clear, to be a channel of the divine with every breath, the breath that we breathe and the light that we bring in is our opportunity to embody greater and greater expressions of ourself. And as we do that, we clear density, and we sometimes have to go through a storm, an internal storm, to allow that to happen. And that's okay. In non-judgment, we get to love our bodies through it. And our body responds to that love by letting go of those old traumas and densities and opening up. And we go into the heart center, we get vulnerable, we get authentic, we get real, we share our truth. And then the heart opens and it's able to hold space for a greater embodiment of our divine frequency. And the more we do, that's an ongoing practice. I've been practicing for 30 years and I'm still practicing. I'm not anywhere near done. And it's the opening of the lotus flower, and it's the ability to, think of a bud that's closed. It doesn't catch much sunlight, but it opens and it opens and it opens and it opens. And the more it opens, the more divine light it can hold and embody. And that is what we are, what we're doing in these vessels. We must remember that we have an infinite opportunity. Every moment, every breath is an opportunity to embody our divinity, our higher selves more. And that is who we're being and how we're being and how we're interacting with life itself. Living beloved.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I completely 100% resonate with everything, like every word that was shared, because that lens that has revealed itself sees it so clear, and that's where that crystalline clarity is. And within that crystalline clarity, I remember one of the things that I'd asked my team, Rochella, was this: okay, we work with activation, we work with the light body, and the light body being activated, carrying more of the light codes, from the great central sun, from the source, all of that. However, in the embodiment, whenever you're meeting density that has been stored within the body, and you are able to meet it with that gracious essence, you're able to transform it, transcend it to another octave of light by it no longer staying within your field. That's another DNA within your own self that you've activated that gives you more light and information. Because my team was showing me, like, this field gets even more brighter, more wider. It expands and expands because the divine can radiate now from what was sitting in the field, like these little orbs sitting in the field that block the light because they're heavier sitting in there. As you meet it with that love and it's transmuted, it opens up. So then more light comes from inside and it radiates out. And again, going back, ascension is the walk of love. It really is a love of remembrance, yet it is an eternal journey on the sun. Like, this idea, okay, I found my ascension and I'm done. That is the farthest thing. It is not going to be done. It is a continuum, because we get to transform and expand, transform, expand within this lifetime until we officially cross over into this next afterlife experience in that full blossoming light. It just continuously gives us the opportunity to expand it as the oneness gets expanded. And I want you to just briefly also speak of that, because I don't know if you've also felt this. When I do this for me, I withdraw a lot of my energy from the out in the collective. I recognize there was so much energy was invested in the collective. As I started bringing in that guidance of the embodiment, as I do it even deeper, even more refined, I'm contributing by far even greater to the collective energy, even higher than and I'm seeing it. Speak to me a little bit also about that, and to our audience about that awareness, so the energy can come more within.
Absolutely. So the light that we hold and everything that we've just spoken about is pointing to, we embody divine light. Our physical vessels are holding divine light, and there is an infinite capacity for that. We don't know where that ends, right? I mean, I suppose at some point we turn back into light, but until that point, and we're still here, we can keep going. And as we do that, and as we lighten up, what's also happening, our emotional body's lightening up. I filter through emotions so quickly, in one day, even in an hour, I can cycle through a dozen, maybe more, 20, 30 different emotions, but they go fast and I don't get stuck in them. I allow them to move through me, emotion, energy, and motion. So you find as you don't let those things get blocked and stuck, you can interact with the world. Your ability to hold light expands, and now you are radiating a frequency. When you're embodied at a high level of light, your light is radiating a frequency that is affecting every other person, animal, everything alive, everything seen and unseen, the earth itself, the ether, the air is receiving your frequency and it's being transmitted. And as we do this embodied ascension work, we are holding this frequency of expansion and of ascension, not just for ourselves, but for all. And in that, as we do that, and this is what I teach because this is my passion, but as we do that, and as more and more of us turn on our embodied light and radiate it, and our frequencies expand, we become this network, this grid work of ascension frequency around the planet. And together we all rise up into the higher dimensional experience of life on planet Earth. This is the new Earth, the 5D and the higher dimensional experience of living embodied. But life changes. Everything gets brighter. I'm not saying it gets easier because challenges still happen, but things happen much more quickly. We can manifest what we're working toward or what we're intending. Our intentions manifest much more quickly. The higher we move up in frequency, the faster our intentions go to manifestation. We must be ready for that. You can't do that at a low level. Well, there's a reason why the lower levels of density don't manifest as quickly, because there's negative mindset happening. And if that instantly manifested, we would have a bigger mess than what we've created in the 3D. So we must learn to manage our minds. We are the spirit itself. The body is like a beloved, we could say a beloved animal. We don't want to let a dog, if we get a new dog or a horse, we don't want to let it just run amok and destroy things. We must train it, and we must train it how to respond to us. And this is how the body is. The body is ready and waiting and loyal and responding to us, whether we are doing that consciously or not. It's responding to absolutely every thought, every word, every emotion, everything. And when we learn to hold and control, and I don't mean like dominate, but in a loving type of, I'm going to inform this body in a way that I choose for it to respond to, and have the responses be under my information so that I can hold my light in the highest way, then everything falls into order. And even when things are out of order, we recover so quickly. And that's what I'm finding. My recovery time, even when I get to that breaking point, my recovery time is so much faster than it used to be before I really started diving into this work. And ultimately, I think the ultimate thing in this is to know that you are radiating. Your being then is of service. Just by being, we are serving the ascension. That is very high level ascension work.
Gosh, we can speak hours and hours of this because we love it so much. Couple of notes as we wrap this up. That responsibility I found is one of the most key important part of this ascension walk. And that remembrance that in the responsibility we have the ability to respond versus react. So that remembrance comes in. And then the ability, so because you're capable, because you're empowered from that place of this ascension that has given you that risen light, it gives you the empowerment to respond within the ability of your new now, so you can handle it from that greater management, from that divine management in such fabulous ways that your human self may have not remembered. And the other part of it, I feel, is such a key, as these pockets that were in our field are met with love. They have opened up that materialization of the idea that was manifested in the vision materializes faster and faster. And from that place, I've found that it ends up being for the higher good of all, not just yourself, for really, it really is connected to a wholeness energy. And finally, Waxela, the other part that maybe this also comes into it, what's so beautiful about all of this is the observer within that gets to watch all of this within the temple that is experiencing it multidimensionally and seeing it and witnessing it and taking part. It's like a whole movie inside that you're playing every part of all the actors, all the director and the screenwriter, and all of it, all is within, and it's shared with everybody else. And that it is such a phenomenal experience of remembrance. And sometimes I just sit in this moment of silence when I remember, and I just find myself illuminated with this like feathered heart, like somebody, like God just feathered my heart, or source feathered my heart with its feathers, and feeling that lightness, how joyful it is. Whereas for many years, ascension was not. It was very painful. So I feel what's so important about what you're bringing, what I'm bringing, and a few others, when we are on the other side of the tumultuous walk, and some of the participants here today may be there, and to remember where it will pass, but it continues. And then once it passes through the hardcore ones, it starts getting actually joyful. So I don't resonate anymore with the trauma bonding with people who we bonded over ascension trauma bonding, because I'm connecting more and more with the joy bonding of ascension with those that I'm interacting, because that's where I am now. And it's like, wow, this is actually really joyful and fantastic.
Yeah, it can be really, I mean, it's really fun. I have practices that I call Bliss and Rapture practices. It's actually the final module of Embodied Ascension of my 6-month course is Bliss and Rapture states, and reaching into them, basking into them. And the point is not to stay in bliss and rapture all the time, because we need the contrast of life to feel inspiration and passion. We must have contrast. If you're in bliss all the time, well, don't be human.
You can handle what shows up still with joy. Joy is not gone. I feel that's the big difference. Like it's still there while you're dealing with the contrast. It's just a whole different operating system that is handling what shows up.
Yeah. But when we bask in bliss and rapture and practice, like take on bliss and rapture states as a practice, over time, you're attuning your body's ability to hold bliss and rapture states, which is very important for the ascension, because as we move up, we are embodying higher levels of light. There's a lot of information, which is a lot of emotional, a lot of feeling, a lot of sensory information, a lot of multidimensional sensory information. And so as we practice, we attune our field and our bodies to be able to hold these higher and higher levels and layers of light. And that opens us up to receive more of our higher self, our divine self in the physical embodiment.
Exactly. And it's so beautiful because from that elevated frequency, you get to also experience more of your, like we said, there's the multidimensional self, the many selves you have in parallel universes, multiverses, in other star systems. It's just so much more accessible with like such flow. And that's what's so beautiful. And at some point later, you and I will have a full talk of the galactic plane, because that's a whole another one that we get into it. But as we wrap up, Waxela, I'm so thankful for you being here and just the frequency that you're bringing for those who are taking part, that I can see how it is being distributed. It's like a dispensation plan. And I love that. I love the frequency of your dispensation plan. So tell us what, as we wrap up, what is coming up that you are serving now that people can take part, whatever you like to share.
Yeah, well, it's great timing because I have a 4-day challenge starting tomorrow, and it's free. It's open to the public and anyone can sign up for it. You just have to register so that you can get the emails. And it's every day I'll send out a Zoom link for the next 4 days. It's an Ascension challenge. And so you go to, in order to do that, you go to, it's my name, waxelasananda.com/challenge22. Challenge 22. And then and then you'll get the registration link. But what it is so 4 days of embodied ascension practice. Day 1 on Thursday, we're going to do the diamond light of the heart, activating the diamond light of the heart. And that's so much fun. And I know you work with that, honey. So do I. I don't know that many people that work with it. So when we met, I'm like, oh, I do that too. That's so great. And, we know how that feels. So we know that's a frequency and it's a field that you can explore and practice and be a part of. So that's day 1. That starts at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. The next 3 days are at 12 noon Eastern time. And so the second day, I channeled in several years ago a type of breath work, which I call Ascension breath work. It was downloaded to me by my guides. I've taken many, many, many types of breath work over my years of spiritual practice. And I was in someone else's course, breathwork course, and I received this download. If you do this and this and this and this and put them together, you're going to have this ascension breathwork that's really expansive. And so I did that, and I offer that now. So we're going to do a practice of that on Friday. On Saturday, we're going to do an Alkywan photon light sphere meditation. I see you have one right there. I have mine here. I always have one next to me. There's also one over on my altar. So much fun to work with these. They're little balls of consciousness in photon light. It's like having a little shaman live with you, clearing the field all the time, interacting with it. It's just the most wonderful, powerful healer. And it does so much. So that's on Saturday, we're going to do a meditation with that. And on Sunday, I'm doing Ask Me Anything. So we're going to show up. I'm just going to answer everybody's questions. I'm a galactic shaman and an embodied ascension trainer. So if you have any questions about what is a galactic shaman and what do you want to know about that and about embodied ascension or anything else in the realm of spirituality or about anything else that we practiced through the rest of the days, that's the day to show up, and I will be on Zoom answering your questions in person.
That's fantastic. And I'll put the link right here. And I know those who are really ready to just experience this, they will have a field day with you and everybody else on the call. And thank you so much for giving that opportunity so that others can experience what they're ready to experience within themselves. It's just such a celebration, Waxela, and I thank you for it very, very much.
Thank you so much, honey. I just adore you. I'm so grateful. I mean, we get to be in the same town or area together. We get together. It's so beautiful to have you here in sacred community, and just your expression and your light and your embodiment is so beautiful and empowering. So thank you for all that you are and all that you do.
Oh, deep gratitude to you, my sweet sister. And it's amazing that we got to share this space in this diamond prism of light. So now where we're in the north end of it, like that north portion of the diamond, and you're in the middle of it, and a few others are at the south end of it. It's so incredible. So we're blasting this diamond golden city of light, and it's a fantastic celebration, really. And I just love it. Just love you, love everything that you bring into this planet for your service, and the call that you answered. I celebrate that with all my heart. And thanking everybody that joined us today. If what was shared from a frequency and a resonance that touched your heart, feathered your heart, tickled your heart, feel free to share it. The ascension walk on this belly of Sophia Gaia is about sharing. Whenever we come to any of these wonderful things, we reshare them with love, because that's how this light continues to expand and expand in its celebration, in its oneness. So thank you so much. And I can't wait for us to have a full galactic hour with each other. That's a whole nother one. I want to get deep into a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And another time. So much love, everyone. Have a beautiful, blessed day. And thank you again, Waxela.
Thank you.
Okay, 1 second.